pressing on, it's not over. Now it depends on you. Every day and every night, should you go or should you fight? It's okay, just take my hand through it all. You will say.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas. And I have with me today a very special woman who's a pioneer in sound health. And she will tell us her story of how she got started and why she is where she is today. But just so you know a little more about her, I'm going to read this to you. Sound Health is a company initiated by Sharry Edwards. She has a master's in education. So she's also an educational, it's also an educational research organization dedicated to the study of frequencies and analog sounds and its potential to influence health. And she's had some wonderful experiences and results. So what is bioacoustic biology? During the exploratory studies, Edwards pioneered a unique technology that falls within a field of complementary medicine that has been designated human bioacoustics. And this innovative discipline combines vocal profiling through voice spectral analysis and the use of low frequency analog sound presentation to assist the body to support optimal form and function. And bioacoustics is considered a complementary modality. It's really more than that, but we will discuss that further. And we have discovered, or she has discovered, we've discovered through her work, that frequencies within the voice, the holographic representations actually represent the state of your health and wellness. So without further ado, let me bring out Sharry Edwards, and we're also going to have the dot connector on today too. So there we go. Welcome, Sharry.
Hello, it's great to be here. We've got some exciting ancient information to share with your audience and some gifts for them too.
Fantastic. Well, that's wonderful. Let me bring the dot connector on. Hi, dot connector. Happy that you're here. I know you're working in the chat, so she may not have a whole lot to say at this point in time.
Hi, just welcome, Sharry, and I look forward to this. Definitely.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us about the new and exciting work that you've completed or information that you have that you can share with our audience?
Well, we started looking at this in 1982 because we discovered that my ears are mutated. They're not like normal humans. They're more like a dolphin. I have an extra piece in my ear called a sacculus, and that allows me to hear things from people that may be normal. I don't want to say normal humans can't hear. So we started exploring, and now, 40 years later, we have discovered, and we have evidence to prove, that your brain sends out math signals that we can manipulate, and we can look at what you're thinking about, and we can look at what's going on in your body. So 2 directions to look at this, and we want to share that with people because we think if we give people the tools to do this for themselves, it'll be a better world.
That is the most important thing you said right there. Self-health, working on yourself and finding out where your weaknesses are, where your strengths are in your physical body as well as your mental and spiritual bodies. So you come out with a new article that you just wrote that looks, I didn't have the benefit of getting to read it, but maybe you could tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I write a column for Health Masters every month, and I share with people what frequencies are coming to the planet and how they're going to be influenced by those frequencies. this month, October, is going to be about blood clotting. So if you have any qualms about that, we can look at your vocal print for niacin, or you can just simply go to your local health food store and get niacin, or there's another one. It's like a chelatase that will help disperse any clots before they
Oh,
get bad.
serapatase,
Yes,
something like that.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
serapatase. Yeah.
So
There's
your
another
local
one
health,
too. I can't think of what it is right now, but there's another one too. There's several in the health food markets that you can use that are a lot safer.
and there's a lot of articles online that'll help you with any kind of blood thickening or blood clotting. So just do it as a preventive. I'm not allowed to say that, I don't think. Niacin is good for a lot of things: circulation, genetics. We see somebody just put in, I use niacin for hair.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that's about, but niacin is a great B vitamin, B3, and it will help people who had gallbladder issues because it helps break down the lipids. And lipids sometimes are a basis for a blood clot. So look at that article. The last part of it tells you what to look for each week. And there's just a lot of blood clotting frequencies coming toward the earth. Now, we don't know where they originated. We don't know if there's a colony and somebody is just sending their colony frequencies. We don't know if it's a movement of the planet. We just know it's there. We know it comes to earth, and we know it's cyclical within a year. That we can see what frequencies are going to be bombarding you. And anybody who's very sensitive, nanokinase.
Yes, that's it. That's another one. But there's another one, the I even have a bottle. I could show it to you.
Serapeptase, maybe.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. It's an enzyme too. And
we want to give people the heads up about what's coming, and really sensitive people will feel this a couple of weeks before it ever shows up in the actual earth frequencies, because it's coming to earth and they're sensitive to frequencies. We are frequency beings. Think of your brain as a central processing unit with all of these frequencies, and it runs on this neural network everywhere and gives your body all these signals. Crook your finger, you have to sneeze. And what we've done with our research is break the code of what each of those frequencies mean, so that we can take a vocal print of somebody and see what's going on with them. Do they have high blood pressure, or is their arm going to go? Yesterday, I hurt my left arm, and ended up, I cracked my scapula. So it was pretty serious. And I put on it was very painful to even move up and around. And they forced me to go to the doctor. They didn't do anything. They couldn't take care of pain, just throw pain pills at it. And I went home, took my vocal print. It said right there, subscapularis is too high, meaning it was in stress. And I gave myself the frequencies for the subscapularis, and I can move the whole thing now. So it doesn't take a whole lot of time to deal with it. And there's so many people out there with arthritis and fibromyalgia that we've been able to take care of.
Wow. Well, so could you explain to people how different frequencies are healing frequencies, or different parts of the body need certain frequencies, or that like someone that has a disease has a frequency that's out of the normal realm?
Could I just give you an example?
Sure.
Of a client. 2 young daughters came to us about their father, and he had to have a pacemaker put in because his heart wasn't doing well. It was becoming very, very thick. And I'll give people this frequency. The frequency the heart beats at is 3 cycles per second. So if the cycles per second, the electrical impulse of that heart is out of sync, the heart won't beat correctly. So we put him on a sound. About 2 months later, they disconnected the pacemaker, and they looked at his heart again, and the heart muscle was thinning out, and it was from his voice. His voice told us what was going on. We gave him back the frequencies. Now, analog frequencies, not digital frequencies, analog frequencies because that's the way the brain perceives and heals itself in analog fashion. That's in a book by Albert Roy Davis, Magnetics and its effect on living system, or magnetism and its effect on living systems. And we think what we are doing is jumping into the magnetic potential of the body. It's called interstitium. Have you ever cut up a chicken and that slimy stuff right under the skin? That's where the electrical magnetic potential of the body is. So we think that's what we're dropping into, because the DNA code is already there. It made the code, it made you, and you have this kind of nose and whatever. What we've dropped into is the RNA, the proteins that keep the codes correct.
Yeah.
So that's what we give people back.
That's good.
The frequencies of those proteins, and the body heals itself. We just kind of help it along. I think this is very, very ancient. People used to sing to you, bells,
chants,
all that different kind of stuff. But we lost it somehow. We lost our ability to pay attention and to use the frequencies that we express as hearing, because you can hear your own sounds, or as voice, or as color, because it's all frequency. It just depends on what you want to look at it in. Frequency is color, frequency is emotion, frequency is aroma. Its frequency is ... I mean, that's the world. We measure it by frequency, and then we emulate it. We make music based on our DNA. Yes, I like that. Somebody in the chat said God spoke, and
yeah, that was that connector. Yes, that's been brought up a number of times. I've seen that in the past. I mean, that's just what she said there. God spoke creation into existence. So,
and that's why we're attracted to certain colors. That's why we're attracted to certain people, certain songs. It's all there. We are here to balance our electrical potential. And maybe we want to be a 10. Then we're going to be attracted to anything that is plus 10 or minus 10 a little bit, because that will help us balance. And that's our life. We live a life to be attracted or repelled by certain frequencies. And what this article you originally talked about is our proof that we can look at the math of somebody through their voice, give them back the correction math, the body heals itself. Therefore, we are very sophisticated robots. And we just want to share with people how to do that. How they can do it for themselves. You get excited over that. I saw that.
That's because I've heard it said before by, I don't know if you know David Icke, but he used to say we're biological computers, and that's basically saying the same thing. And he was saying that years ago, and people laughed at him and scoffed him and all kinds of things. But when you think about how we have been programmed, I mean, it's not different than putting software into a computer and programming it. And so in our subconscious, we get programmed. And as children, we're little recorders up until the age of 7, from what I understand. And I think it even goes on past that. But
well, think about how we hear. And this is a new idea of how we hear. So a sound comes out the ear, and somebody is saying something, and it interferes with that sound and crosses over the sound. Mm-hmm. I think where that crosses and how it crosses is what gives us meaning. And that's why young children have to learn the sounds and the intent of our voice. Even animals do that, learn the intent of our voice. I can't prove that yet, but I think that's how we determine meaning.
Wow, that's fascinating. That makes sense, though. Wow.
There's a guy named S. James Gates, and he's a neurophysical engineer of some kind. And I think he's at Brown University. He took a group of students out for the summer, and they were measuring signals from plants. And he found signals in plants that emulate the correcting frequencies for human beings. Now think about this.
That's fascinating, because that just shows the symbiotic relationship that we have with the planet. Really?
Yes.
I mean,
and most of the plants are the color of either their fruit or their flower. Like carrots have two sounds, white light from the Queen Anne's lace flower, and then the note of tea from the orange in the carrots.
Wow. So you can provide a note for foods because of the frequency of that food.
Well, it's usually a combination, and that's why
Or the
herbs
combination.
are so great, because they're a combination of all their component parts, and that's why they can be used for many things, because the body takes it in and just uses what it needs.
Well, would you agree with this based on what you know, that fruits are electrical, vegetables are grounding, and what's the other one? Herbs are healing, basically.
I would agree with that, but look at the content of water. Water is one of the things that helps the body detox, especially something called aquaporin. It helps that amount of water, and what that, it's a protein water, and it helps to flush out everything that's not any good, the leftover cells, the cancer cells that shouldn't be here there. So I think our inability to use that water system in the body is what causes cancer and disease and Parkinsons and all kinds of things, because the body can't flush. And there's a whole thing about use this food for this thing. And when you look at the amount of water content in fruits and even watermelons and
Very
things
high.
like that, yeah, they heal the body. There's whole books written about that. We're just now learning how to take care of our biology.
Well, the thing of it is one of the things about fruit and water in fruit and even water in vegetables, as far as I understand it, is that water is actually in what they call fifth phase. We've all heard about fourth phase water, but fifth phase water has actually been discovered by Rob Gorley, who makes a product called Wata, which is highly polarized and has a lot of negative ions. But the beauty of the fruit is it's already in the form that the body is the most readily able to absorb. And most Americans, most people, well, maybe I shouldn't speak for other countries, but because I don't know for sure, but at least in America, most people are dehydrated,
And
which would just compound the problem, right?
yes, and you look at positive and negative potential of the waters, and that's electrical potential, and that's how it gets drawn through osmosis through the body. And if you have a bad pH in the body, the water is not going to move the way it is. And that's one of the things that your voice will tell us. Your mouth will tell you, you'll get very dry in the mouth. But you can see the fluids, how the fluids move throughout the body through the lymph system and now the lymph system. And that's what keeps us cleansed.
Did you say glymph or
Yeah,
lymph?
lymph. Lymph is L,
Oh,
and the
yeah.
lymph system is getting the garbage out. That's one of the
Oh,
other
okay.
things.
Okay, I hadn't heard anyone say it that way before. That's funny. That's good. Let's see.
We have
Somebody,
a question.
yeah, we do. I'm going to
question
put that question up.
Parkinson's.
Yeah.
With Parkinson's, one of the biggest things we found, we got a group and we look at them, and what's consistent in Parkinson's is their body can't use something called ferrochelatase, which is the last step in using iron in the body. And the iron gives the strength to the muscles, keeps your blood flowing. Yes, that's how you spell it.
Yes. Yeah, let me put
Great.
that up.
Ferrochelatase.
Thank you, Dr. Nectar.
Yeah, I did an article about that. You can find it in Wikipedia, and has a whole great big chart. What we do is take those charts of correlates and we transfer them all into frequency, and then we can see things in the body that conventional medicine can't, because we can see what the math is supposed to be doing, not just what they say that it's doing and how to connect it. You can see relationships, thousands of relationships, mathematical relationships in the body. It's like taking color. Color has a pigment and a light opposites. And if you use those in the body and you know how to use them, you can put yourself to sleep, you can put your heart into rhythm. And that's what we teach people, or try to teach people. We don't want everybody on the planet sending us their problems. We want to teach people to deal with their own problems. Although we do have a portal, it's an online workstation where people can go and leave us their vocal print. We just did a big project and over 1,000 people left us their vocal prints so we could test them. We tested for tinnitus. We found out that tinnitus really is an issue with mercury, and it's protein kinase is not being made well, and that's what helps reestablish the nerves in the ear. So we can look at all of that by math and find out why your math system is out of tune, literally out of tune, and we can give people that information back. They can take it to their wellness provider and go from there. It's Sound Health Portal, and we have probably 20 different, sorry, I got a buzzer going off here. We have probably maybe 300,000 entries that we've been able to decode, and people send us their stuff. All these people send us who have MS issues, so we can help reverse their eye issues or macular degeneration. And then we write articles about it and send it out. With macular degeneration, the commonality in all those people's voice is the rectus muscles in the eye, and they get a little piece of drusen, which is cholesterol, in between that really fine layers of muscle, and it causes the macular degeneration. There's no cure for it, except we've been able to help the body cure it in many cases.
Wow. Well, could you explain what happens in macular degeneration one more time? I kind of missed a little bit of it. I was looking at.
Have you ever eaten phyllo dough, like in baklava? That really. Okay, you have that kind of.
Oh yeah, that real flaky. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have that kind of muscle, and then drusen, which is a form of cholesterol, gets stuck in there, and it causes distortion of your field of vision.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. I was wondering because I had a friend who had it, and I was trying to help him. I tried to get him to come to you, but he didn't. So anyway,
another sort of thing we're able to see is relationships, like cholesterol and myostatin. Myostatin is a protein, and the more you have, the weaker you are. They're trying to give it to cattle to make them bulk up. But it's the same frequency as cholesterol. So these animals die young of heart disease and vascular issues, but you don't want to do it to humans because it can cause heart issues. But if you take statins to control your myostatin, to control your cholesterol, it's all mathematically related. It's all the same frequency patterns.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Well, we learn things about people, and when we know that equals that, we're right back to we're robots again.
Well, what do you find with people that have high cholesterol? What do you find in terms of, is there a commonality amongst people who have high cholesterol that you've discovered of any type?
It's an inability to process lipids. So we want to go back to the pancreas and look at that. And one of the things we're finding right now, there's lots and lots of people who have issues with their pancreas. And the pancreas and the gallbladder together help take care of sugars and lipids, fats. So we find a way for the body to take care of the fats. We have whole cascades they can look at. You can go on soundhealthportal.com and say, I want to be checked for cholesterol. You give them 30 seconds of your voice and your internet address, and they just send you the report. It's all free.
There you go. That's what I wanted you to say, Sharry, so that people know that they are not being charged for this service. You can go get your voice analyzed and find out what your status is through that frequency evaluation, and it's free. Okay.
And we want to encourage people to take the class on their own. And our first class is free. They give you 2 templates nutrition, and muscles. And you can go on there and learn all this. There's tutorials. If each one of us knew how to do this self-help bit and we could balance ourselves, we wouldn't have to depend on other people in our community to do it. So we're all for setting up bioacoustic communities in every center, because I think there's going to be more and more people that don't want to go to doctors. They want to go to something natural. And everybody can learn this now. It used to be hard mathematically. Now it's a punch of a button, a few buttons, and you get a report. And we just opened up something called biomarkers so that people can use all 300 of our templates and see what's related. Do they have a leaky gut? It'll give them all the information. Just go to biomarkers and it'll run it through every template we have and tell you what is the worst. Do you have a fatty liver? Whatever is going on, it'll tell you, and then you can go after that. So this is really set up for self-health.
So based on what Harry is asking, he says, why not transmit healing frequencies into swimming pools? Is that feasible? Is that something that could even be done?
We
With
have
water?
tried it. Yeah, we tried it many years ago with people who had AIDS. And it did reduce the load, the bacteria, the pathogen load. But somebody stole our speakers, our water speakers, and so we couldn't continue.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. Oh, isn't that just amazing how stuff like that happens? I just want you to know, Sharry, that the listening audience thinks you're amazing. Sage said so. She's a regular. So,
well, thank you. I don't think I had much choice. I think I had an event that happened to me very early, and I was to do this. I was already listening to the animals and to the crops, and they were singing to me. And I learned that certain sounds meant certain things. And then I had how do I say it? I had what I believe to be a UFO experience when I was 6. And Ruth Montgomery, I don't know if people are old enough to remember her, she confirmed it for me. But my cousin and I found this odd round thing laying on the side of a hill with a bunch of trees. And I tried to go near it and she wouldn't come to me. And I grabbed her and pulled her toward it. And it had on the outside of it a moving picture like a hologram. And I had never seen a hologram. I was not educated. I went to a 4-room schoolhouse. We didn't have TV or things like holograms. So
yeah,
I just
what's a
thought
hologram?
thought it was a singing picture. And so we went toward it. And the next thing I remember, we were trying to walk down over this hill to home, and we'd take a step and boing right up over the trees. And I was thinking, wow, what if this quits war up here? But I never understood it. But from that time on, I could hear the sounds so much better, and I could duplicate them and as pure tones, and normal humans aren't supposed to be able to do that. And then I wrote to Ruth Montgomery. She wrote all these books about strangers among us and walk-ins and that kind of thing. And I thought maybe that would explain what is really happening. Because some days my shoe size was 5, and some days it was 6, and some days I have blue eyes, some days I have green eyes. So I really couldn't understand why there was like 2 of me in here. But the strangers among us, she talked about walk-ins. And I wrote to her, this before computers and everybody's home. And I wrote to her publisher, and I said, what happens when the other guy doesn't vacate, when there's 2 of you in here? And I didn't tell her much of anything else. She wrote back, Sharry Edwards, when she was 6 years old, when she and her friends found the cigar-shaped cylinder in the woods, she agreed to share her voice, body, and life with the idea that frequency and sound can help the planet. I was flabbergasted. She asked me to be in her book, Aliens Among Us. And I had all of these ideas, little green man and little, alien antennas. And so I refused. It scared me, but it just kept pushing me to do what I'm doing. It had a life of its own, and I just tried to keep up with.
Well, you've done a fantastic job. That's all I can say. And it is, well, who always said, Tesla always said, what three things? Energy, frequency, and what's the third one? Oh my God, I just lost the thought.
Vibration.
Thank you. Vibration. I just went blank. I got two of them and I went blank. So anyway, that happens every once in a while. Yes. You are definitely a gift, Sharry, because we have learned so much. And I think people aren't, just the idea that don't people that have a cancer, for example, don't they emit a very low frequency?
They do, and there's three things that go along with cancer: the frequency of vitamin A, the frequency of catalase, the frequency of calmodulin. Boy, and what's the third one? That's three, but there's another one. We have a whole video about that. It's on Vimeo, Vimeo, that you can go listen to it, and it'll show you all the frequencies that we've come up with cancer. But the commonality is the Krebs cycle, the energy cycle at a cellular level. Wow. And we have a computer program that'll help you determine if that's working well. It's called cellular inflammation, and you can get it on the portal and just test yourself and see where you are and see what is going on. Did you not clean up the trash? Do you not have a lot of oxalic acid? You keep that Krebs cycle clean, and the body stays more healthy from the frequencies that we can see.
Well, some of the things that I've wondered about, and I don't know if your research brings this into light, like some of the problems that people have. We know what the problem is. You know what the frequency that needs to be applied to help correct it. But what caused it in the first place? Like, let me just give you an example. Like Parkinson's, for example. Pesticide exposure is also a common finding. So when you do these analysis, do you see any heavy metals, or do you see the glyphosate, or do you see the other chemical substances that could be causing the problem in the first place?
Absolutely. And when you're talking about Parkinson's, there's about 15 different things that cause Parkinson's.
Wow.
One of them is the spray they spray on marijuana, or used to. I can't remember the name, dioxin or something like that. It can
that's
be
a bad one.
Yeah,
it
can be
is
a lack of B5 and the ability to use B5. It can use the minerals, sulfur, that keeps all the pathogens out of the system. Can be tremors. We have a computer program called Parkinson's Commons, and it's 15 templates together to tell people how and why they got Parkinson's. And it's up to them to find their local wellness provider and help back it off.
And there's so much that people can learn to do themselves. And I'm afraid that is what they're going to have to do.
That's what we set up.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Let's see. I was going to ask you something.
Can I make a comment while you're thinking?
Sure.
Sharry from the audience put it in here that we need to tune the planet. We absolutely do. If we can use these computer programs we're giving us to make you perfect, and then make your partner perfect, and then all your kids are all tuned up, and then the house next door is all tuned up, and this city tunes up that city. If we all work on it one at a time, I think we could tune up the planet, and that's a good idea, Harry.
It is. Thank you, Harry. That's fantastic. And we really, because one of the things that you're saying is, as you tune up yourself, it helps to tune up the people around you to a certain extent, because you overlap your auric fields and so on. And that's very important.
Also,
what about,
I'm sorry, can I just
go ahead. Go ahead.
Sharry also has courses beyond the free beginner course she just discussed, that takes you from beginner to advanced, so that you can become proficient. And she also encourages people to have their own businesses by creating health centers around the country to spread this and continue the research that she so diligently worked on over all these years. So it's a big production, and really check out her websites.
And she's giving it away for free, and there are people that have tried to steal her work and patent it and charge for it. So this is a pioneer that it was a lot like Tesla. If she could give it all away for free, she would. But all of us have to
well, I'm
have
sure they have
something
to
to
cover their
survive on.
costs for
Yes,
some of the
exactly.
instruction and whatnot.
Exactly.
Well, that's one of the things that made me mad. People are taking this and charging for it. They're filing patents on it. And I wrote to them, warned them, you gouge people with this. The more you gouge, the more I'll give away, because this belongs to the people. But we have to charge for some classes. We have to pay the teachers. We have to pay the telephone, the light bill, the Xerox. So we charge for the advanced courses. And we have an advanced course going on right now. It's for professionals who want to set up a center in their community, and it's push button. You don't really have to know anything. It's 10 hours long. It's 2-hour sessions. I'll send anybody a catalog, or go ahead and send it to you guys so you can learn to do this on your own. This needs to be in every city, in every community, in every family.
And this is going back to self-responsibility and taking care of your own health. And because what got us into the trouble that we're in today with health is because we've got this mentality that there's something wrong, take a pill, that fixes it. There's something wrong, take a pill, that fixes it. And it doesn't fix it, it just makes it worse. And you have to take the time, because nobody knows you better than you do. And look into these kinds of things and use this type of tool that can really help you.
We're getting poisoned by our food, by the toxins, by whatever's going on around us, by people who have bad intent. We're all getting poisoned by that, and it's throwing us off kilter. Think about narcissists. You say, I think you're having an affair, you're acting strange. They say, no, I don't. And then you find out they are. They've lied to you. So people who lie to you don't love you. They want you to love them and to serve them. People who really love you tell you the truth so you can make your decisions based on reality. And there's a lot of lying going on in our community. And Gail and I were talking before the show. What do we want to talk about? We want to talk about truth and what is going on, and about people are so scared nowadays. They don't know what to think or what to believe. So the little computer program that we want to give away is called Nano, nanoVoice. You do have to register it, because what was happening with it is we gave it away, and somebody who you know their name, if I said it, they took it and they demanded that I still give it away for free. And I take off the front page that said that it's free. She said, if you're stupid enough to give it away, I'm smart enough to sell it. But we are giving it away, but we're demanding a registration so that we can follow up with classes and that kind of thing. And so other people just can't get it and abuse it. But it helps you. You have 2 jobs that you're vying for. And if you say, well, this job does this, and it's this far away from home, and this job does this, and you take your vocal print, the pattern in that computer program will tell you which one is best for you, because you really know on a subconscious level what's good for you. And people have talked us out of it with all the shoulds and oughts. And if you're a good government person, you do this and do that. Don't do this, we'll send you to jail or whatever. You can find out what's really you, so you don't have to make those decisions alone. Because people really don't trust themselves nowadays. And this computer program will allow you to reveal your secret self, so you can trust yourselves and other people around you, because you can see who's lying. And we teach you how to do that. For instance, we were brought in on the Jerry Sandusky case. He was the Penn State coach who was having anal sex with little boys. And he denied it. And they asked us what was going on. I said, Yes, he's guilty, but he doesn't see it as sex. He sees it as horseplay. It's just something you do in the shower room with little kids.
Oh my God.
And sex is reserved for family and having kids. So we were able to tell, was it a lie or not, and what was his motivation? And that's the kind of thing that you can look at with these computer programs. Now, with the free class that they were talking about, you get all the charts. The note of C means this, the note of F means that. And you get all the charts and all the flyers with it for free in that course. So go to it and let's make the world a better place.
That's wonderful. And why, on that same note, that's why I tell people, if you haven't made somebody smile today is somebody, please make somebody smile. I mean, that kind of, it sounds like such a little thing. It doesn't cost anything. It's very easy to do. And especially if you get a hat like this. But anyway, I just fell upon this one. But anyway, it's a little thing, and it could mean a lot. It could make a person's day. And but anyway,
I just wanted to, can I add something in here? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you're fine.
I really believe that frequencies and the use of frequencies is the key to healthcare going forward. And it's currently being used.
Energy.
It's currently being used for the past, let's say, 5 years in earnest in the physical therapy realm that I'm in, in terms of right frequencies, pain management, injury management, and such. So this is more of a holistic, well-rounded program that Sharry has, as opposed to some of those other units like Spooky 2 and all those other kinds of units. But I just wanted to say that there's ample research for this all over the place.
Watch and see. It needs to be an analog sound presentation, because that's how the body perceives and heals itself in analog fashion. Digital is an approximation. It's like on and off, whereas a sine wave that your body presents is so that's the difference in analog and digital.
And your tone boxes, the tone boxes that you use in helping someone with a disorder or what have you, if you want to talk about that you can create these tone boxes that will even be subsonic, I'm not sure, while you sleep. Like, you could listen to it while you sleep to get healing from it, and they have to be analog in order to be effective, correct?
Yes, there's two different versions here. One, we can help diagnose, and there's a lot of that on our website, but then we can help the body heal itself. We had a guy who came in from a back operation. They had accidentally cut the nerves to his right leg, and he couldn't walk. He's just dragging that leg around, and we identified where the problem was, gave him back the frequencies that we know that feed those muscles, and he's up running around and has his job and is helping other people now. He was so impressed with bioacoustics. He's doing this now for people. But even with, I need to say this because it's important, even with the free class where they give you nutrition, we look 16 layers deep. We just don't look at a serum level. We look at 16 layers deep to see how calcium is affecting you, how potassium is affecting you. So we go to root cause. And I think that's a biggie to give you that big for root cause.
Very big.
We want everyone to have this.
It's what's beautiful about it is the person, if they're willing to sit down and look through and watch the material or read the material, they will actually be able to probably give themselves better health care than they would get from a stranger called a doctor.
Even if they just take the free class with the 2 free softwares, they can start charging their public for nutrition evaluations, or with the muscles, they could charge a sports team for, you could, because you have the background for it, a sports team where this muscle is going to go next. Pay attention. And we have a whole program on golf swing. What's wrong with my golf swing? Your voice will tell the computer what's wrong with your golf swing.
Oh my goodness. Maybe Trump should know about this. He might want to have his swing evaluated.
And
Are we allowed to mention his name?
Well, I think so. Well, I probably should have said Mr. T, but we weren't saying anything politically related. I mean, jeepers creepers.
Just golf. Any of you want to go meet Trump and show him this golf program? I'll give you the program.
So anybody out there, that's contact me and I'll contact Sharry or contact Sharry direct.
With these keynotes, there are certain months that the golf swing is really in stress. So you can go back and read all of these keynotes that we put out every month and see what's going to happen with the muscles. The muscles for this month are the trapezius, some of the shoulder muscles. So just read the report and you can see what you need to support and exercise. And there's books out there. Here's how to exercise the trapezius muscles. So go for it. It's laid out for you.
Yeah, and physical therapy or that kind of thing, that's right up Dot Connector's alley. So we need to put this Breaking the Sound Barriers of Disease series article. Can we put that in the chat, Sharry?
Absolutely. Well, I don't know if I can get it in the chat, but you're welcome to.
No,
do you think it's
quick
all
draw
right to put it in the chat?
McGraw. Yes, I sent it to your email. Dot Connector.
It shows some of the proof that we are
Maybe I can find it
robots. What I call revealing the math of mechanical sentience.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So
That is a wow. So people can be androids, basically.
Yes, I think we are. We're just very sophisticated. Look at what's happening with all these contraptions they're putting on people from their brain, and they can make their leg work. I mean, it's there. We just don't think about ourselves as robots. Actually, I made that comment while I was doing a presentation in New York, and a lady in the audience came up and started beating me with a broom.
Oh my
What?
God.
Really?
It was wild.
Was
People
she a
don't
witch
want
or
to
was
think
she-
of themselves like that. But think about this idea. If you're attracted to another person because of their frequency completes you and make you feel whole, if people really believe that, then why would they question somebody having an affair? Because they needed that to connect and make themselves whole. I wrote a whole article about it called Electromagnetic Genetics and how we are attracted to people by their frequencies, not only their personality and what color their hair is. And
Wow. I got a
That
question
makes a
for
lot
you.
of sense. Go ahead.
I got a question for you. And I don't know if it's me or it seems as though, what if a person seems to attract narcissists? What is that all about?
boy, I wish I knew, except they want acceptance where they've never had it. But just look at narcissists. If they lie to you, they're just in it for you to serve them. Run the other way. Unless you want to be in that position. Some people like being the servers, but they're givers and they're takers.
And narcissists are takers.
Yes.
Maybe they're attracted to givers. They know somebody
they
can pull.
away.
Yeah, pull the wool over their eyes or take advantage of their compassionate nature or whatever. I've got a question for you.
Okay.
And I had an experience with a sound health technician very early on when I came here into this area in Sedona. And this particular session, I had two different sessions actually. And the first session was the most awesome. What happened was, and I'm hoping you can explain why this happened, but it was a drum beating. It was drums, like Native American type drumming. And all of a sudden I started seeing visions. And it was like I went into a totally different realm. And
Yeah, I think they're here. Totally different frequency-based divisions. Think about every song. It has a rhythm, it has notes. If you don't believe me, try singing Mary Had a Little Lamb to the tune of Three Blind Mice. It's hard to do.
Wow.
So the frequency patterns can put you in this other dimensional realm. And humans have already discovered this. It used to be on a telephone, one wire, one voice. Now they have fiber optics, and they can put many different frequencies on one wire and carry them on different frequencies. So 100 people can use just one wire. So humans have already discovered that. And I think that's where ghosts are. I think that's where psychic ability is, that we tap into this other dimension of frequencies.
And that's so true. I had a sound bath along with, there was a Reiki healer there and some Indian drumming as well, and some gongs besides the bowls.
I love those
And
bowls.
oh, they're beautiful. And when she got to the heart chakra, I just started crying and crying and crying. I had a reason for that. And I talked with her afterwards, and she felt the sadness coming from me during that time. And she said it was the heart chakra. And I just tuned right into it and, tried to heal a wound, I guess, but it, no words were said. She never said where she was going with the music or the song or whatever. It was nice.
Well, it puts you into the rhythm, into the realm, and allows you to sort of separate from the physical body from the rhythm body. So they're going into the part of your body that deals with bioelectric and biomagnetics with the drumming, and that helps you separate and be able to jump into, face these other realms. Most people are afraid when they astral project because they don't know what's happening. Boy, whatever you're afraid of, that's going to happen. If it's spiders, there'll be a 6-foot one. You just say, take a bite. I'm
Nah.
going.
Oh my God.
Can
You know what? I have to tell you this experience too. Now, in the second session that I did, it wasn't the drumming, it was the those little tuning forks, right? The tuning forks weren't nearly as effective as the drumming. I mean,
Well,
I didn't have any. Yeah.
The tuning forks are direct, like the note of C is 130 to 138. I think that's C to C sharp. So anywhere in there can grab you. But if they get your particular C, then you'll drop in and tune in, because it's like plucking a string on a guitar. One string plucked, the others begin to vibrate. And if they can tune in to your exact frequency, then they're more likely to allow you to separate the bodies, the astral and the corporeal body.
That makes a lot of sense.
Wow.
Thank you.
Very interesting. Thank you.
There's a whole lot about our ancient ancestors that we don't know and we don't use.
Well, they did so much with sound in days, and they made it sound like they were all primitive and so on. But I believe it was sound is how they moved all of those huge stone objects in.
Yes, and healed each other and all that.
I want to tell people there's nothing I have that they need. If they will just go inside and hum whatever they want to hum, and there's a technique to it. You bring your voice in and then blow it out with your teeth together so that your teeth begin to vibrate. And that's your note. You carry it with you all the time in your voice. You carry it with you in your ears all the time. If you listen to that sound in your ears, that's the perfect vibration for you at this second, at this moment. And there's an article, we'll send it to you. If you can moan, you can tone. And it teaches you to go to altered states using the sounds in your ears. Be prepared, though. This will change you. The people around you will not interest you anymore. You want more. So be prepared for your relationships to change.
Wow. That's happening to people already anyway, because of the changing energies on the planet and the frequencies that seem to be waking people up more. and more all the time.
Well, I may not be, I may get in trouble for saying this, but I believe we are in a situation right now with frequencies, and a couple of the frequencies that have been put on the planet, either by our food, our vibration, by radio, by inoculations. One of them is called VMAT, VMAT, and it's called the God gene. And Dean, somebody wrote a book about it. And within that particular protein, it causes people to be empathetic. It causes them to bond. And people are complaining that a lot of that bonding is gone.
Do you have an explanation? Do you have an explanation for that?
It's the same frequency for dopamine. And dopamine is the feel good, the connection. Oxytocin,
Right.
one of the chemicals that happens when you have a baby. You're bonding with the baby, and your body creates oxytocin.
So they're messing with the neurotransmitters.
Yes.
Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
Which the heavy metals do right out the gate anyway. And a lot of these different health issues that people have is because we've been being poisoned by our food, by our water, in the air. And I think that that's what creates the genetic imperfections, which give people problems in the future, because it actually damages our DNA at times.
But
Look what they're advertising on TV, this Camp Lejeune, that years ago people drank all this tainted toxic water, and it's now causing cancer and Parkinsons and all these kind of diseases from something that long ago. Yes, we have pheromone frequencies, and people use those for crops and to keep bugs off the crops. Harry, you asked the most interesting question.
Yes, Harry is a frequent comer to the show and frequently has good questions. Thank you, Harry. We appreciate you.
Tim G wanted me to talk about how I got into this field. It's more interesting how I stayed in it, but I got in it because I could hear the sounds and nobody else could, and I could duplicate these sounds, and I could then know what was even going on with people by the sounds they were emitting. They had a headache, they were mad, they were angry. We use those, but we don't use them actively. Well, I was born in Southern Ohio. We lived in a corn crib. We had no electricity, we had no running water, no bathroom. And I think because I didn't have anything to interfere with the development of my hearing and my voice, that I just got to be the radio for all this stuff.
Wow. You probably were never got this either, did you?
No,
I mean, as a child.
We went to a 4-room schoolhouse. We barely had books, any health care.
I got another question for you. What is the frequency of white light?
It's exactly halfway between the notes of B and C. And it's also the frequency of adenine triphosphate, ATP.
Oh, wow.
And that's the first chemical that comes together when conception takes place, ATP. I remember when my son was conceived, and he's like 50 years old now, it was a long time ago, but the whole room filled up with white light. And it's the same frequency.
wow.
The leftover ATP is stored in your eye, and it implodes when you die. So I think it's white light from the beginning to the end. ATP is the energy cycle of the body. That's what the Krebs cycle, energy cycle creates the
powerhouse
energy
of the cell. Yeah.
being alive. So if you play B and C together, 2 notes, you'll probably get white light. But if you get it in a tone box, you can get the very exact frequency of it.
Oh, wow.
And going to exact frequencies really doesn't matter a whole lot. It's like aspirin. Your body knows where to send it. And if you get close to the frequency, the body will pick it up and use it. It's like filling up a hole of dirt. You know, any dirt you shovel in there is going to do something. And by the time you get to the top where you have to smooth it out, your body has taken over and healed itself. We're just giving it the support it needs, that somehow from living on this planet, it got screwed up. What do you
Here,
call an untuned sound? An out of tune
tune
sound.
Harry brought up this that there is a website. I knew there was one. I didn't know what it was. So thank you for that too, Harry. How 440 and 432, the difference between the two. There's also an application. I don't know if that's the app or not, that will change something that's at 440 hertz to 442. But that's just another thing that they did on the planet, controllers to mess with people.
That's Pythagorean theory. 432 ends up being a 9. And if you have a scale of music that all leads to 9, look at the Pythagorean scale. Every frequency adds up to a 9. And that's supposed to be more compatible with people. It has an upbeat to it. But somebody had posted something a while back. I didn't catch it. It went on. One of the things
I know that happens to me all the time.
One of the things that Stephanie Seneff says is this glyphosate that they're putting on all of our vegetables are what's messing up all of these teenagers' hormones.
Yeah.
And that's why all of this is going berserk.
Yeah.
So we poisoned ourselves.
The he-she scenario.
Yep.
And that's horrible. And then there's also, in addition to glyphosate, there's also atrazine, which has a similar very negative effect. So, Harry's got another thing to tell us.
369, yes.
Vortex maps.
If you look in the Bible, there's a 369 relationship that they said is healing. If you look at our logo, it's all based on triangles of 3, 6, and 9. That's where we originally started with the frequency and the frequency relationships. Now we use the math from the Templars. Sylvia Franck.
Somebody asked about that.
Sylvia Franck wrote a book about the Templars and how they were influenced. I'd never met her, but she wrote in her book, Sharry Edwards is a modern keeper of the Holy Grail information. And that's where she's getting this information about frequencies. I didn't learn any of this. I have a master's degree, but I didn't learn any of this. I found it inside of me. And when it came out, it worked. And we checked it out to see what was happening. And sure enough, all of these relationships began to make sense of what was going on.
Yes, and explains the circle, the triangle. And Nikola Tesla also said, if you know 3, 6, and 9, you will know the secret to the universe. And that's what it is, the Holy Grail, the combination thereof. It's all about, what do you call that, sacred geometry and mathematics and such.
Right. And I just like people to know that Sharry mentioned Stephanie Seneff. We had a show with her not that long ago. If you haven't seen it, she gives some very, very important information in that show and talks about glyphosate. So if you haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend that you do.
About how we're screwing up our hormones.
Mm-hmm.
And the environment and our soil.
Yes. And our animals. I mean, it's affecting anything and everything.
Well, they say it's to kill weeds, but they're using it now when they
said the shiitake pathway wouldn't be affected in humans, and it is affected.
Yes, and when you begin to bring a crop in, like all the tomatoes are ripe, and they've already sprayed this glyphosate on the weeds. Now they spray it on the tomatoes, so all the green will die, and you can pick the tomatoes easier. So they're spraying it directly on our food.
And they do that with the wheat too, which is why people get gluten issues, because the wheat from America is saturated with glyphosate, which causes cancer, which causes all kinds of different problems. It just depends what your epigenetics are. It depends on a number of things, but some people are going to be more vulnerable than others if they're more toxic and so on. But it's just, we just have been bombarded with poisons. That's all there is. And then they even have snake poison in something that was part of the program. That's a whole nother story, but we won't go there.
Well, what they're trying to do, the elites are trying to make it so what they say is the real thing, not what we know, and going with nature. I'm going with nature.
I'm going with nature too. That's why I call myself Gail of Gaia, because I'm all about nature and I love nature. And it's one of the best ways to heal too, because when I go out in nature and sit there, if I'm all upset and stuff and so on, I will be fine by the time I leave.
Now,
And
hug
I
a
think that's
tree,
really cool.
walk barefooted in the mud, pick up the
Exactly.
frequencies of nature.
What is
Some-
as the question is information? Do you have any information on the frequencies that are changing that are coming from the sun?
No, I don't, but I'll go look it up and see what's happening. Also, somebody has asked about the Schumann resonance. I
resonance,
don't
yeah.
know much about it, or solfeggio, but there is a woman that does. Her name is Jill Matson. She has written a book about the lost waves of time. And it's all about how the ancient used all of this and how time is involved. And we do have a frequency that we have found that will distort time.
Wow.
Whoa, really?
I saw her name on your website a couple times.
She
So
writes songs for people.
That's amazing.
She writes songs for people?
Yeah, if you have something going on and you can't stand the tone box, she'll write you a song with your sounds in it.
Oh, wow. How cool. So if people were to get this tone box, it would be something that they could listen to on a regular basis, and it would be something that would actually be healing for them. Is that correct?
Well, it allows the body to heal itself. Like we have one called BioBody, and it's all 400 and some notes of all the frequency, and you just put it on at night and play it. We have one called FaceTime Continuum for wrinkles. We have Charlie Chaser.
Wrinkles.
I was trying to little back box, which is for back pain, and you just put it on, let it run all night.
And that's under like a store section on the website then?
Yeah, I think it's under products. I'm not sure.
Products. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, we just are creating a new one for breathing. Breathe Easy. And it's for these people who are having trouble breathing because of their health. And it really helps them breathe better all night. It's just based on the frequencies that we use to help the people breathe in all those California fires.
oh, wow, from the smoke and the,
Plus,
yeah.
there's so many people nowadays that have to use BiPAPs and CPAPs for sleep apnea, and it's really gotten worse. The numbers are really high.
And how many people do you see walking around with little oxygen bottles?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We can give you oxygen by frequencies, and the air begins to smell cool.
Like ozonated? Ozone, is that a word?
Ozone is, yeah. And ozonated is too.
Oh, okay.
But she's not talking about ozone, really.
Just oxygen.
Okay. Just oxygen. Oh, not O3.
Smell.
Ozone is O3. It's good
Yeah.
for knocking stuff out of the air. But
so the Schumann resonance chart, Sharry, is very interesting. And I put a link in the chat, but I can always send one to you. And it's the frequencies that are coming to the earth that are measured in different places on the earth in Italy and Russia. And they correlate, actually, the numbers correlate to our brainwave patterns. So let's say it goes to 3, that might be theta or gamma, you know what I mean? And it can affect how we feel.
our moods,
So,
our emotions.
Absolutely. Your music
now-
can change your mood. Why not just sound?
Yeah, there was a data loss Vince brought up, and that's true because I've seen it too. The Schumann resonance chart it's blanked out for the last 10 days or almost 10 days. It's been out. I think it's back up now, but regardless, it is because the frequencies are so messed up. with what's going on. The Schumann resonance has been going way up, and it even went below normal, which was really surprising. So,
But every time I just know that it's out of whack because I feel out of whack.
I
And
can
when I
vouch
go
for
and look
that.
at it, yeah, you can vouch for that.
I
I'm in a
take my
bad mood today. The
I
Schumann
take my
resonance is off the charts.
every morning, and I give myself the frequencies that my voice indicated my body needs. Because I
Oh,
have bad genetics, I eat badly, all these toxins. I live on a farm, and all these toxins of everybody spraying their crops around us, and all the threats. I'm stressed about all of the threats and what people in government are trying to make us believe. And that's why we want to share this program. Talk to it, it'll tell you what you believe and what's real for you. And then you have a strong foundation to start from. That's what I like.
everyone in the chat, please share this video and get the word out. So we
You can help
grow
heal your
more.
family with it, for that matter. First heal yourself, and then you'll know how it's done, and then you can pass it on to family members and vote.
It identifies what you need. It's up to you to go find the healing, whether it's herbs or color
Right.
or Reiki healing or whatever heals you.
And you're your best doctor. You know yourself better than anyone else.
Yes.
And this gives you some tools to hone that in even more. So,
And sometimes you don't know who you really care about, and is that person good for you or not. And you can talk about your feelings for that person, and it'll tell you, does this balance me? Does it shortcut me? So you know who to be with and who's supportive of you. I like that
Yes.
a lot.
Yes. Could
About
we get
the
into the less objective physical part and get more? I know there's a whole section on whether you can tell whether somebody's telling the truth or telling a lie, or how people express themselves. There's a whole vast array of things you can measure, right?
Yeah, we have some new booklets out. One's called the Guardian Papers, and it's all about what you can do in your environment right now. Then we have another one out, the Royal Family. So we did King Charles's voice and what's going to happen. We have another one from these people who are checking out the internet and the election and who's telling the truth there. So we have a lot of groups of papers to help people make some decisions about what they want.
That would be
And
interesting to test some of the people in the alternative media that are arguing with each other right now.
yes, you'll be able to do that. It's a booklet that tells you how to do it. It's a video that tells you how to do it. We give you the actual program. We show you how it works in hopes of just improving our planet.
Great. Thank you.
Yes. Dot, do you by any chance have Sharry's website handy? Somebody is asking in the chat. It's in the description.
I put them up again. This is the second
good.
time
Thank
I
you.
put them in chat. Sound Health Options and Sound Health Portal. There's actually two. And then the Vimeo, I'll pull that back up. There's a lot of videos in Vimeo, it looks like.
There's about 500 Vimeo. They're all educational, how to use these programs.
Wow.
That's great.
That's a lot of them. But we have a bunch of them.
Portal.
Yeah, we have a bunch of them that we'll provide in the description. Somebody has asked, and Soul wants to know, the full moon causes people to be weird, especially in nursing homes. Actually, it's not just nursing homes. I mean, OB wards bump up, mental hospitals bump up big time. Is it a frequency thing, Sharry?
It likely is, but I've never explored it.
Okay.
I'm sure it is. And people driving crazy and, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, frequency affects the water in your body. And we're right back to that aquaporin that helps detoxify you.
And there we go with your smart devices, right? not so
Yes.
which
smart.
are, yeah, we are
Yeah.
bombarded. Yeah. See, we're not only, but we not only have the poison air, poison water, and poison food, we also have frequencies, electromagnetic frequencies that are unhealthy that
Smog.
we're bombarded with on a regular basis.
That's why
That's,
we set up that workstation, Sound Health Portal, so people can go there every day and take their voice and see how they're doing. And I should let people know that the first 2 weeks are free. And then after that, it's $20 a month to check your
that's so
vitamins
cheap.
every day. That's
Wow.
And
nothing.
check your vitamins every day.
Yes.
It'll tell you what you're
Wow.
high and low in and all that. I know, boy, I wish
Yes.
this would have been around when I was
Wow.
practicing as a
That's
nutritionist.
amazing.
Gee, we may have to do some, I may have to do some consulting with that at some point. I don't know.
I am very interested in it, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's tutorials to teach you how to do it, or you can join a class, a group, and learn how to do it. They even have marketing things there for you. So the Sound Health Portal is just a public workstation for you to learn to do this for yourself, your family, your community. The other one you mentioned, Sound Health Options, is about classes and articles and things like that.
And there's also a connect with a practitioner on your website as well, because I use that and I met a great guy named Tracy. He lives in the middle of Pennsylvania somewhere, but he was so helpful. He was fantastic. So I did some voice stuff with him, but then something happened in life and I got distracted, so I had to get back to it.
Yes, I'm so busy with all the shows that I do. I wanted to do it, but I don't know that I have time. But I certainly need to do it for myself, which I haven't done. I need to take care of myself.
Yeah, we all do, and we need to make the time, right? I mean, that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know why, but I feel so. I can relate to Sharry about what she's saying about being compelled to do what she's doing because she's following a calling. Well, I feel very compelled to do what I'm doing, and I have no reason why I don't know. I don't have any background in media production. Okay, I just started doing it because I thought it was so important. The information that I was becoming more and more aware of that got out there for people to know about and find out about and
And because
act
people can
accordingly.
tell that you're telling the truth, and you've come a long way, baby. Remember
Yeah.
that?
I'm very thankful to bioacoustics. I've had 2 strokes, both medicine caused, and in both times I lost my left side and my voice, and I was able to bring it back in a day, bring my voice back. We've done that
Oh,
for so
wow.
many people. Everybody needs to have this in their medicine kit so they can help themselves without having to
Right.
wait for conventional. I don't know, turn them around. Like the people we started with came in this morning and the local hospital turned them away and said, "We don't know what's wrong," but their voice told us what was wrong.
It's invaluable, really. I mean, I'm working
Yeah.
right now with Parkinson's patients and stroke patients, and had they had this,
Here's
they
the
could
thing,
have
though.
avoided a lot of problems.
Here's the thing that I run into, and I'm sure you are used to run into. I don't really practice as a nutritionist right now, but sometimes I think I might go back into it to some degree. But just like with exercise and nutrition, you can talk until you're blue in the face, but until the person is willing to do it themselves and look into it themselves, we are not his healers. We are only the facilitators by providing the tools and the information. I try to provide the information. Sharry has the tools, and Dot Connector, you're the same as I am that way. So we find people who have tools that you can use to help you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Mainly, we want to teach people to help themselves.
exactly, because we're going to be moving to that. Hospitals are going to go out. I mean, if anything else, they're going to be totally revamped if they even continue to survive, because so much of what they have done and do is all based on making money. not on getting you healthy.
And
So
I think, Sharry, correct me if I'm wrong. Are you still doing a weekly research group meeting?
We do that with our practitioners.
Right, right. And you
We did a
discuss
whole
the
seminar
newest.
on cancer. We did a whole seminar on tinnitus. So we teach them the latest techniques that we have found here.
Okay, great.
awesome. Well, I was going to ask you one more question, and then we probably better go. As far as check your vitamins every day. When you say check your vitamins, do you use frequency to get that upgraded, or do you actually take physical vitamins, or how do you do that? Do you know what I mean?
If it's something that is available over the counter, like AMPK, which really helps people. AMPK really helps people lose weight, but you can't buy it.
Of course not.
Not over the counter. You can buy it at Amazon, I think.
Oh.
But we try to find things that we can take an herb and do a sound, and everything works quicker. So if it's just you can do just herbs, that's okay. Just sound, that's okay.
I got a great question here, Sharry. I have to ask it before we go. Tim came up with it. This is a good question. Was there ever an analysis on Trump's voice in relationship to endorsing the messenger RNAs? Many cannot understand why he still seems to continue to endorse. Were you able to pick up anything on that?
I've not done his voice about RNA. I know from what I see, they have changed a lot of the vaccine and made them into batches so they can test different people.
Mm-hmm.
But what I like about Trump's voice is he puts the people first.
And you see that, you get that out of his voice. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's very important for people to know, because there's a lot of Trump haters out there that I think is a form of mind control that went on. And it's not based in any reality, because you ask somebody, well, why? And they don't have any answers.
That's true. And then you look at people like Liz Cheney, who says she's going to go after people that are against Trump and support them. When you look at her voice, there's some kind of background that deals with her father, that Trump did something to her father.
Her father is such an evil man.
That's why she's trying to revenge.
Yeah, I think probably I have a good idea what happened there.
We should watch what we're saying.
Yeah, we better be careful. But we're ready to close here anyway. It's almost an hour and a half. We got a 1:23. So if you have any closing remarks, Sharry, and we'll call it a wrap for this show. And I hope to bring you back on again, because your information and what you are learning is absolutely fascinating. And there's so much to cover.
Yes.
I like to remind people that there's nothing really wrong with your voice. It's what you do about it that makes a difference. And that's the tools that we want to give to you in a loving manner to elevate the planet and the people.
And that's a beautiful thing. And like I said earlier, that'll be a wrap for the show tonight. And I am going to say it one more time. If you haven't made somebody smile today, make that your objective. You could make somebody's day just by making them smile.
That's great.
So
thank you so much, Sharry.
Thank you, Sharry. Thank you for being with us and taking the time to do this. And thank you for all the work that you've done. Wonderful.
Well, we just want to pass it on.
Thank you. We'll work on it. We're going to be passing this around all over the place. Okay. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. Thank you, Sharry. Thank you, Dot Connector. And we'll be back again soon. Thank you.
We'll stand. We'll stand. We will stand. Standing tall and standing strong. Defiant and looking on. No way down from our past we climb. We'll push on while there's still time.
Remember, everyone, the reason we play this song is because together we will stand. You're an American. Show it.